In this video, we are going to go over security roles to securely filter your data within Sharperlight. Security roles limit the records that a user or user group can access based on a defined rule set. Security roles provide row-level security for Sharperlight. This means that your data can be securely restricted to certain users and user groups. As you can see in the example on the screen, role 1 is restricted to cost center code KSTB, while role 2 is restricted to center Z5, and role 3 is restricted to center Z. In this video's example, we will be working within a SAP Business One data model, applying security roles to limit employees to view only data that relates to their particular company. To demonstrate this example, we'll be using 3 accounts. Alfred, on the left, has access to all companies. Simon only has access to Australia and the UK, while Matthew has access to Japan. On the next page, we'll see that each of these accounts has access to different data sets due to the security roles being assigned to them. So as you can see, Alfred has access to Australia, the UK, and Japan. Simon here has access to Australia and the UK, while Matthew only has access to Japan. These rules will follow them to all dashboards with the company name associated. On this hub page, we have a demonstration dashboard. For each of the accounts, this will appear differently due to the data sets that we have. So with Alfred here, we can see the top 5 transactions and the lowest 5 transactions. These happen to be Japan. When we sign out and sign in with the other accounts, you'll see the data in this set changes. As you can see with Simon, again, the data is limited to Australia and the UK, and these top transactions have changed. And as you can see with Matthew, the data has changed again to represent the Japanese data. So on this page, we have a dashboard. Each dashboard reflects different data due to the security roles applied to each account. Moving on to our other dashboard, you'll see that the security roles will continue to follow the accounts. This next report shows all company accounts. You can see here Alfred has access to Australia, the UK, and Japan once again, while Simon has access to Australia and the UK, and Matthew on the right only has access to Japan. Moving to this Excel spreadsheet, you'll see that the security roles continue to follow the accounts here. So first we'll sign in as Alfred to see all the data. And hence we can see Australia. If we scroll down far enough, we'll see the UK and eventually Japan. Next we'll sign in as Simon. And on refreshing the worksheet, we should only see Australia and the UK, and we'll see that the Japanese reports have now left. There we go. So we no longer have access to the Japanese reports. And finally, we'll sign in as Matthew. This time we should only see the Japanese reports. To view security roles, click on the Security Roles tab here. Once in the Security Roles tab, your security roles can be viewed in the top panel here. On the right-hand side, we have buttons for creating a new security role, deleting a security role, cloning a security role, or refreshing the Security Roles tab. Once you click on a security role, you'll see the options and values associated with it. The most important of these being the application. So here we can select users and user groups, to which we can assign our security role. So as we can see here, for company JA, this is restricting to only the Japanese company. We can see we've assigned Matthew and the global sales group, of which Alfred is a member of. Next, we'll show you how to create basic security roles and assign them to accounts. As you can see, I've removed the security roles we had before. All 3 of the accounts can see every company, including Germany. Within Sharperlight, there is 2 ways to create security roles. One, through the Security Roles tab that we clicked before. The easier and more recommended path is to go through a Publish report. So we'll open the Publisher. So here we have our reports. Previously made this one, so we'll use this report here to show all the company accounts. So we'll just open it up. And heading to the query. Once we're in the query, as we want to set the security role on the company, we'll double click on the value here, opening up the lookup. We'll then next highlight the company we want to create our security role for. So first we'll just create Japan, highlight it, right click, and we click Security Roles Create. Now we are presented with the security roles screen. And here we can see the role created for this company. So in the filter rule here, you can see that the company is selected. We have the code here, which needs to be named to something meaningful. I'll just remove this number for now and replace it with JA for Japan. We'll then click on Restrict Editing to this user account or an administrator. This restricts any user from editing this account. Once we've ticked this box, we'll apply this to some users and groups. Now that these roles have been created, we'll return to the web pages. We'll refresh and return to the report that we were previously looking at. Upon submission, we should see now that each account has been restricted once more. Once again, we can see here that Alfred has access to Japan, Australia and the UK. Simon has access to only Australia and the UK, and Matthew has access to only Japan. Next, we'll return to the query from the viewpoint of Simon. Returning to the query from the viewpoint of Simon, we'll click Preview, and we'll click SQL Statement. This code here is limiting the data that the user can see based on their security role. So here you can see that Simon is now restricted to Australia and the UK. Next, we'll move on to more complex use cases for security roles. So first, we'll look at limiting account numbers using filter rules. So we'll head to our publisher. All right, once we're in the publisher, we'll return to our report that we previously have shown. Once again, we'll head to the query. And now we'll head to the account code. We'll right-click, lookup. Now in here, we can also apply security roles to these. So I will apply to some account codes that I know appear between multiple companies. So we'll highlight 111000 and we'll highlight 114100 with a control click. We'll then again right click, security roles create, and open our security roles tab. So here we can see that we've created a new security role, and you'll notice in the filter rule we've included null and the two security codes. This null code here is required for the situation when you open a report and neither of these appear, so that we can display no data. Once again, I'll just name this with a nicer code. So we'll say account code. As you'll see under the tooltip, you can apply more complex filter rules. So we can apply likes with a wildcard, a character and a wildcard, nulls, blanks, and so on. We can also apply ranges. For example, we can apply 1.11, and this will apply a range between 1 and 11. For now, we'll just apply this basic rule here. I will also add another account code here, just to show that you can add account codes within the filter rule and you do not have to select them from the lookup table. For now, we will apply this to our user group, global sales. So we'll see once we apply this, that Alfred will be affected. We'll now return to the web view. We'll open the company accounts, click submit, and you'll now see that Alfred can only see accounts from all three companies that he can see, but only with the code numbers we supplied. You'll also see that this follows Alfred where he goes, so we'll move to the show periods, and we'll see that Alfred can only see transactions that contain this account code here. The other two account codes are not included in this set as they do not have any transactions associated with them. We'll now return to the publisher as Alfred so that we can see the preview of the queries. I'll then show you the SQL statement to show you how the filter rules are applied. So now we'll open the Show Company Accounts report. We'll edit the query, preview, and you'll see that now that I'm signed in as Alfred, the account codes are restricted, and I now only see the account codes supplied. We'll check the SQL statement, and from here, we'll scroll down a little bit, and we'll see the statement in action right here. It's now supplied to the account codes here, or null. Carrying on, we'll move to the periods one here. So opening it up once again, opening the query. We're no longer searching the accounts. We are just searching the transactions table here. So we'll hit preview again. And now you can see that we are limited to 112,000. And these are the only statements we can see. We'll open the SQL statement up once more, and we'll notice the same statement is inserted into the SQL code. Next, we'll explain the use of code paths. Returning to the previous security role created for account codes, you can see here, on the creation of the security role, these code paths were pre-generated. To demonstrate code paths, I've created this report on another data model. This data model uses the same account codes and is created from a materialized query. So we'll open the query up here, and as you can see, we're reporting on another data model, another data model's GL transactions table. Our outputs are account code, period code, amount, and company. If, for example, we wanted this account code here to be applied to our security role, we would right-click, we can go to information here, we can copy this code to clipboard, we'll go OK. Now we'll go to security roles edit. We'll find our security role we've created previously, so this one just here, and we can insert this new code into the code paths here. We'll click apply. Now this data model will be included within our security role. Next, we'll move on to scoping security roles to apply to particular reports. The concept behind this is not necessarily security, but rather using security roles as a filter. We want to reuse the same dashboard, but have the data be scoped to different users or user groups. For this example, we will be using this end of month report. We'll open up the query. And within the query, we can see we're currently filtering on reports for the end of October. First, we'll right-click on company and open up our security roles. Now we can see our company Japan and our UK and Australia security roles. The first thing we are going to do is click apply based on filter settings. When this is enabled, essentially the security role becomes opt-in, requiring a filter setting within each report to determine whether the role will be used. Next, we will apply a category. We'll call this an optional role. And we'll do the same for Japan. Apply based on filter settings. Give it a category of optional role. We'll click apply and close. Next, we'll right-click in the query, come down to other, and we'll click security roles category. We'll click OK. We'll click on the dot to open the lookup. We'll select optional role. And finally, we'll hide this filter. This is to ensure end users cannot turn off the security role. We'll click OK and apply. Opening this up in the web, we'll go to our demonstration dashboard once more. And you'll see that I've edited the dashboard to now include the end of month report. You'll notice that both Matthew and Simon still see the top and lowest global transactions still. Once we submit the end of month report, you'll notice that they are both scoped individually. So now you see that while they both view the top global transactions and the lowest global transactions, the end of month report is individually scoped to show only companies assigned to each user. So Matthew on the left here has only Japan, while Simon on the right has the UK and Australia as before. While not necessarily a security roles feature, security can also be applied to certain reports to prevent particular users or user groups from viewing them. To demonstrate this, I'll open up the show periods report here. We'll go to the security tab, we'll open user groups, and we'll add global sales to the access granted list on the right here. We'll click apply, and OK. Returning to the web view, we have Alfred on the left-hand side here, who's a part of the global sales group, and Simon, who is not. Opening the demonstration tab here, we can see that we have dashboard, show company account, and show periods, while on Simon's side, show periods is missing. Now you'll notice that even if Simon tries to access this report via a URL, he is also denied, as seen on the right here, while Simon on the left-hand side still has access to this report. While on the topic of securing published reports, you can also bulk edit security applied to these reports by right-clicking on the publisher, coming down to security, and clicking bulk edit. From here, you can view all your published reports at the top here, and your user groups and access granted list on the bottom here. To add security to these reports, you can click on these tick boxes at the top here. Today we'll click Show Accounts for 2006 and Global Accounts. Coming down to the bottom here, you can add your users and user groups. So we shall add today Simon, and we'll add the Global Sales Group. And click Apply here. This will now apply the security settings to these reports. You can also remove these settings by ticking the Reset box here and Apply. This will now reset all security settings on these reports. Security roles can also be applied to published reports. To demonstrate this, we'll create a new published report. We'll edit the query. Ensure that system is selected as your product. As for the table, click on the lookup, and we'll go to Web Channel and Publisher. Click OK. In the selection, you can see Group, Code, and Unique Code. These are commonly used for security roles. For today's example, we'll use Group. We'll bring Group to the filter settings. Once again, we'll click on the lookup. And as you can see, I have these two groups for my published reports. We'll click on Security Roles for now. Right click, Security Roles Create. This has been created with the default settings as usual. We'll rename this code to Security Roles 1. And as you can see under the filter roles, Sec Roles 1 has been applied. We'll now add a user. We'll add Matthew, for example, and click Apply. This published report has now been secured using this security role. To enable editing of security roles, click Site Setup. From here, you can view your users and user groups. And by clicking on a group, such as the default group, you'll see that by default, Allow Security Roles is restricted to false. This means that editing and viewing of the security roles is restricted for this group. However, this can also be enabled by clicking the drop-down box and clicking True, if it's so desired. Security roles can also be accessed on the index page on the left-hand side here. As you can see, this list in the index shows all security roles within your installation. These can also be edited by clicking on this button on the left-hand side here. It's important to note that the security roles can also be queried. Within the Show Security Roles report that I have here, you can see that I've selected System as a product and the Security Roles table. I'm using this query to separate my security roles by their group. As you can see in the preview here, I have two groups being my accounting data model and my SAP Business One data model. Viewing this report in the web, you can see that now my security roles are separated by accounting and SAP Business One. It is important to note that a report such as this will likely need to be secured using the Security tab and adding the administrator group to the access granted list. Security roles can also be imported and exported to other models. To export, you can click on the Export button just here. This will open up a lookup where you select the security roles that you would like to export. I'll export the 3 security roles that we've created today. Clicking OK, this now opens up a window where you will select your export location. Once you click Save, you'll see it pop up displaying how many security roles have been exported. Clicking OK, we can go now to our demonstration folder. You'll see there's a security role list exported here. To demonstrate importation, I will now delete our security roles by clicking the X here. To import security roles, click on the import button. This will open up a window to select the security role list you'd like to import. We'll click on the list we exported previously and click open. Next, we will select which security roles we would like to import from this list. At the bottom, there's a select all button. Clicking on this button will select all the security roles from the list. We then click OK, and you'll notice that these have been re-imported. It is important to note that moving this to a separate system, users and user groups will have unique GUIDs assigned to them. These users may need to be reassigned in the new system.